Good morning. My God, well, now look at me. I'm wearing red because it's Valentine's week, really, isn't it? I mean, Valentine's is on Monday. Monday, it is Monday. And so I thought, you know what? I'll put on a little bit of red today. And I didn't need a hat because my hair has grown out enough now that I don't look as much like David Cassidy as I can. Thank you to all of you who put up the picture of David Cassidy to demonstrate what I was talking about to people. It really, really highlights the similarities when you put us side by side. I should have taken a picture when my hair was first cut. But anyway, so you know what? Since I saw you last, which was 2 weeks ago, I, uh, I, I, it was the anniversary of Mom's passing, and so I put up a tribute to her that I had done on the show in the fall. And the comments and the messages that people sent to me, uh, they were extraordinary. And I just thought, what a connection we've made. For you to care enough to say, you know what, I'm going to send her a little message because I know it's important. I appreciate that more than you can tell, and more than I can say. So thank you very much for that. And so here we are. I named it Sheila's Sensibilities, and I'll tell you why. Because there's the man. Look, I think his man could be a woman. I don't think so though. I think our fella is a fella. Anyway, garbage is what I meant. Piece it together if you can. I named it Sheila's Sensibilities because I highlighted this a little bit 2 weeks ago. And what I highlighted was the fact that, uh, I spoke about Mom having to have something to look forward to. When Dad passed, her friend said, Rosemary, you must have something to look forward to. Go to Florida and you look forward to that. And so, anyway, and she did. And she continued that every year until she passed. In fact, just 2 months before she passed, we were in Florida shopping together, her and I, and Kelly, my sister. And so, anyway, we must have something to look forward to. And I think what this week I felt a little tiny bit tired, almost fatigued. And I thought I shouldn't be fatigued. I'm getting good sleep. I'm not doing anything, only my regular work, which is far less than what I normally do. So what could it be? My God, what could it be? And that's what it is. I think it's COVID fatigue. That's hard to say. COVID fatigue. I really do believe it, because I really think it can get down on us. And so a couple of weeks ago, I made a decision. It's the most foolish thing. However, it gave me a little lift. I always get the Dove soap from Costco. The one that comes 100 in a pack or whatever it is. Um, Perhaps 20 or 26 or something like this. Some marvelous number for $14. And anyway, that might be the sale price. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing a commercial for Costco. My point is that soap lasts forever. Forever, you're going around smelling that soap thinking, well, it's just the soap, isn't it? There's no sort of, thank you, Maureen. I put the red on for Valentine's Day. Uh, there's no sort of excitement about the soap. So, you know what? I daringly went out to Shoppers and I said, I'm going to get a different Dove. And I did. I got a cucumber Dove soap. Now, I tell you this because that little soap gave me a lift. And I am not kidding you. I know it's the most foolish thing where you think, well, how is it possible that soap can lift you? It can lift you. It's like going. I saw something one time, and I wrote it down, and it was something about, I find that it's a bit of a trouble spot lately. You know, I have a frying pan that won't work, that's burnt out. I have this that won't work, and I'm halfway through a tube of toothpaste that I can't stand. And this is true. You know, if you're using the toothpaste you can't stand, get rid of it. You know, this is not a sort of free for all now where you go out and say, oh, it's retail therapy and I'm going shopping. I don't mean that. Little tiny things, little things that give us a little lift. And soap is one of them. So, you know, tell me, is there something that you do to give yourself a little lift? That you think, yeah, you know what, that's going to help everyone. I'm going to tell them that if they do this, if they, I only use butter too, by the way. I remember years ago, you know, I live on a farm still, and we still have the farm. We sell the central dairies. My father was steadfast about the dairy products, and we used to drink. I'm going to say, and I think I'm conservative when I say this, 1 liter of milk each a day. And so, anyway, mom had put some sort of margarine on the table, and dad said, Rosemary, he said, butter. Can we have the can we have the good butter? She said the good butter is $3 a pound. He said, Rosemary, if we can't have a bit of butter, he said, what can we have? And it's true enough. These are the little things. A little bit of butter. Now, you know, I just say that to you because maybe you're not feeling it. Maybe you're not feeling fatigue. But I'll tell you what, I felt it yesterday so much so that I thought, you know what, I wondered. I said, my God, suppose I'm depressed. And I know I'm not depressed because I know what that feels like. And thank God I don't feel it. No, it's not. It's just tired. And I think this is why, because we have nothing to look forward to. And I'm a woman who likes to fly and travel and such. So I mean, this is something, a little something for you. Put in the comments what you do to lift yourself. You know, I get a bath every night. That sort of carry on. You know, I don't need to know now that you've just bought a Jaguar, unless you bought it for me. Oh, speaking of gifts, listen to me. Okay, now look, I don't have a hat on today because it got a lot of airtime last week, or 2 weeks ago rather. And I told you that Brenda Rose had made me a hat. She knit it. Um, she got the wool from a co-op in Uruguay, and she said, Sheila, I got the hat. And this is a woman that I met, you know, through these little talks. And I said, oh God, I can't wait to get it. And so I went out to meet her, and she gave me the hat, and the hat was a little bit too small. Now, I don't think my head is big. uh, you know, perhaps quite smart, so maybe he's full of brains. I don't know. Mom used to say that Crosby had a head on him like a 20 shilling pot, but I didn't think mine was. But anyway, a bit too small. So she was going to add another layer because it didn't come quite down to my ears, and I have quite small ears, you know. But anyway, it just came to here, and I said I could see me now going along trying to be warm in that hat. But it was a very nice hat. I can't wait to get it back. And not only that, but I got another gift. She gave me a beautiful Purdy's chocolate. These are people who are paying attention to the podcast or the this thing, whatever this is, the live walk. So thank you for that, Brenda. But also last week, I got a little gift from my Norwex representative here in the Ghouls. Now, she sent it to me just completely on a whim. She sent me this glass cleaning cloth and a lip balm. Now, I thought it was so generous because I have bought from her in the past. And here comes this beautiful cloth. So if you need Norwex, go see Veronica Kirk. You can look her up on Facebook. Book. She's a marvelous woman, and marvelous. Norwex is a wonderful product. So just to let you know about that. So anyway, all right. I was telling you about Dad. Years ago, Dad used to work for um, city council. Dad used to work for the city council, and he worked with a friend of his. And this is how, remember, I told you the story about Mrs. Butt. My dear Sheila, she used to speak like this. Her voice was ravaged from smoking cigarettes. And Edison smokes like a pig, my child. And oh, Sheila, you're so nice and fat. Oh, yes, that's perfect to the world, inside and out, my child. So, anyway, this is how she spoke. Well, how we got to meet her is that Dad used to work with Mr. Budd, Edison, at City Hall, at the for the City Council. This was before he had the big sort of farm years and years ago. And anyway, they had a little group of friends that every sort of week they would have a little get together after work. And what they would do is one person would buy the flask, and then they'd all have a little drink, and then they'd go home. And so anyway, Dad bought it one week, Mr. Buff bought it another week, and it was that sort of carry on. And anyway, this one week was Dave's turn. And Dave didn't always have control of the money. Dave, his wife, kind of wore the pants, we'll say. And so, but that didn't stop him. He said, "No, no, guys, I'll get it. I'll get it." No, he said, "I'll get the flask. We'll meet down at the house then." And so, anyway, they said, "Yes, all right, good." 4:30. 4:30. I say 4:30. Might have been 3. But anyway, they went down to his house down on Canaz Hill. And Dad said, little house, ordinary house. And they opened up the door. And there was a screen door and then an inside door. And they went in. And Dave said to his wife, Brenda, he said, darling, he said, I changed the check to get the boys the flask because it was my turn. And she said, "You changed the check?" She picked up a gun, Dad said, and shot him. Well, Dad, this is true. Dad went out through the door without opening it. He ran right through the screen door, and Dad was a big fellow, and right through the screen door, never stopped till he got to the bottom of Canaz Hill. And when he got to Canaz Hill, the screen door was still on his chest. Well, Dad told me this story. I said, "Dad, what happened?" He said, "Sheila, look, don't be talking." He said, "We listened the whole weekend. We were listening to the news, thinking, my God, it must be on the news. She killed him. We're all witnesses." And anyway, the Monday came, and they all went into work, half nervous, talking it all over. And it was no such thing as, well, I'll give you a jingle or I'll run out. This was back in 19 and something. Early 19 and something. And so I suppose what that would have been 20 or 20, so 50. It was in the 50s, 58, 59, that area. So no cell phones and barely any telephones. So anyway, it got to work. They were all talking it over. Next thing, Dave walks in. Dad said, "Just what happened?" He said, "Brenda shot you." No, he said, "Blank's in that." I'm going to tell you what. Now, that is when I would pee in my pants with the fright, and that'd be the end of Brenda. Because I'll tell you something, if I had to deal with that sort of angst, my God help us. I hope you're not dealing with any of that. Where people are going to shoot you if you take your money to buy a bit of pink Dove or a cucumber. Anyway, now listen, my God, all right. So it's been 2 weeks. The other day I started this task of putting all my walks on YouTube. I turned around because the wind is right in my face, and which means it's in my ears, I think, and you can hear it. So on YouTube now, I haven't gotten them uploaded yet because it's a process, because it's been quite a few walks. And so anyway, because of this, I had to look over the walks and see what the content is so I could put up the appropriate title and that sort of thing, and realized that I repeated a story, and you, my darlings, did not even let on that I repeated it. Isn't that marvelous? Thank you for that. God bless you. And another thing, so anyway, I'm doing that. I'm in the process of that. But another thing is, I went for a hearing test yesterday. I know. I went to get my hearing tested at the Red Door something or other on Elizabeth Avenue, Red Door Hearing Speech or something. And the good news is that my hearing is excellent. Thank God. The other news is that my doctor said, Sheila, yes, no, no, you should, if you think you should get your hearing tested, because I always have these, I'm always listening to music and, and have been in front of drums and bands and that sort of thing. That's funny. So I thought, you know what, I'll get my hearing tested. And she said, Sheila, hearing loss is linked with Alzheimer's. So she said, if you have any, if there's a certain tone you can't hear, then that means that, that part of your brain is not stimulated. That's when, good morning. That's when the Alzheimer's kicks in. So she said, be sure to be good to your ears and get them tested. And so I did. And my hearing is excellent, thank God. So I saw on one more little story now before I go. And then I'll see you in a couple of weeks. And it's Valentine's on Monday, for God's sake. It's time to eat chocolate. Thank God. I saw on Facebook or something that the Herald was celebrating Sharon Snow's Places to Go for over 20 years. I love Sharon Snow. And so, and it reminded me of years ago, she did this interview with a fellow at the home, and he was an older, obviously he was in the home. He was an older man who was an explorer, and I mean Antarctica, and the Sahara, and this sort of exploring. And anyway, and he was certainly finding maturity in his age by now, and she wanted to interview him and find out, the various things about his explorations. And so she said, Mr. whatever his name is, I can't remember now, Peck, I think it was Peck, Mr. Peck, tell me about, your exploration. She said, for an example, I know that you've traveled all over the world. And she said, and I'm just wondering, what was your most frightening sort of experience? And he said, Sharon, I, I have had some different experiences that were glorious and some that were harrowing. He said, I think the most frightening, and I guess he was 95 by this time. He said the most frightening was the time I was in on safari, and he said, and we were photographing lions. He said, and I was looking at something, and my friend had told me, "Watch behind you." When I turned around, here was a lion, and the lion roared, "Rah!" He said, "Well, I soiled myself." She said, "I expect you did." No, he said, just then when I went wrong. I know, you don't know what you're going to listen to. Anyway, listen to me now. Okay, so in 2 weeks' time, I'll see you again. Um, and hopefully I'll have something to say. I hope you're doing great. Don't forget to tell in the comments about the little things that you do to give yourself a little lift. Is it a little bit of chocolate? I read a thing last night, and it said that the doctors say that but one piece of chocolate will decrease your lifespan by 2 minutes. And they said, by those calculations, I died in 1610. I know, I laughed. Anyway, is it a piece of chocolate? Is it a new Dove soap? Tell me what you're doing to bring yourself along. And my God, I know gas has gone up, hasn't it? Look, we won't even talk about that. Okay, love to you. Have a great day.